Howdy, folks. I'm your old pal, Rhubarb McKee, that you've always known and always appreciated.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Forcing My Husband to Pay for My Daughter's Piano After He Damaged It? I think this one buries the lead a little. Just to let you know, it buries the lead a little. A little. Yeah, and there is a content warning on this one. It does mention the death of a spouse, the death of a parent, so keep that in mind. My husband and I have been together for 2.5 years. I have a daughter, Callie, and she's 13, and she loves instrumental music and piano, and it's been her number one interest. I'm not saying this because she's my daughter, but really, I see her talent as special, and more importantly, she uses it to express her feelings, especially for her deceased father, who passed away when she was 7. She always says that it's a way for her to connect to him through playing the piano. So I encourage her to do it, and her grandparents bought her a $6,000 piano, and she was thrilled with it. The whole family encourages her, but my husband thinks that it's a distraction from school, a real future, etc. He doesn't attend her plays, he doesn't help with the academy, he doesn't take the time to listen to her play, and every time he comes home and hears her playing upstairs, he'd lecture us about his activity and how it's just a waste of time. I sat him down and told about Callie picking up the bad vibe, and he got mad and said that he was just doing my job for me and ensuring that she doesn't get distracted from school, although her grades are good. We went back and forth on this, and I made it clear that this should stop. He said okay, and that was the end of that. On Sunday, a huge argument ensued in the house because my husband claimed that Callie woke him up on his day off with her loud playing. He issued an ultimatum: either she gets rid of the piano or he gets rid of it himself. I asked where I should take it, and he said Callie's grandparents' house, but Callie didn't want this. After we left, I found out that my husband took it to the junkyard that his dad works at and cut it into pieces. A big argument ensued, and we literally had a screaming match in front of his family over this. I gave him 2 days to pay for a new one, despite him apologizing and say that he acted in a moment of desperation and frustration. You cannot act in a moment of desperation when you are moving a piano to a junkyard and sawing it. There is meticulous planning that needs to go into that action. There is no impulse, I accidentally sawed a piano in half. There is no excuse for accidentally sawing a piano in half. It does not exist. This is not a Warner Brothers cartoon where a piano falls on your head out of nowhere, right? This does not happen by accident. He says the only way that he could pay for it is using his savings that was supposed to go towards his new garage and as a side business. He complained about me forcing him to pay and ruining his business before it even starts. He kept sending his family as a middleman to get me to give him at least 4 months, but I refused and stood my ground despite being called unreasonable since it's a piano versus a new business. Am I the jerk for forcing him to pay and not giving him time? Edit, no, he didn't have an issue with whatever Callie was doing at first when we first started living together. At first, I thought that as a family, we tended to get annoyed by stuff other family members do, but apparently this isn't the case. By the way, tonight or tomorrow morning is the timeline I've given him. So far, I haven't heard from him or his dad. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, but divorce time.
Do we even need to cover this letter? Like, at this point in time, I think the body of evidence speaks for itself. You cannot accidentally destroy a piano out of frustration, like, unless, like, he was, like, pounding on the keys and didn't realize, like, that it was going to, like, break it in some way, shape, or form, right? You still shouldn't have rage fits pounding on a piano, but you can't saw a piano in half and have it as an accident. There's no excuse for that. It just literally cannot happen. So, OP, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. This sounds like a bad family affair at this point in time. Like, your family is not working together as a family. He is trying to dictate with ultimatums. He's trying to say that his will, his way, or the highway, and that is never a good way for a family to operate. Everyone needs to work together with compromises. If he doesn't want her playing it on Sundays mornings and because it wakes him up, I think that's a reasonable request to say, hey, please don't play the piano until 10 a.m. on Sunday, right? I think everyone can get behind that and be like, yeah, maybe playing the piano early morning might be a distraction. But honestly, I wouldn't mind being woken up to piano music. So that's my opinion. But everyone has their own thing, right? So anyhow, take care and good luck. You need to leave this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
For your daughter's sake, he cut what she held dearest into pieces. That's abusive. Nothing fixing this. It's your job as a parent to protect her from this. Also, like the grades bit, right? Playing musical instruments actually helps people with their cognitive abilities. And so, in a lot of ways, destroying a musical instrument is not going to help her with her grades. And the thing is, like, everyone needs an outlet for their stress, everyone needs an outlet for the day and the grind and whatnot. And if this provides her with that, then that's a really healthy way to unwind from the day. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Making My Son Eat Off Dirty Dishes? This happened 2 months ago, but he is still furious about it. I'm a 45-year-old female and I love my oldest son, but he's 17 and he acts like it. Our family rotates chores, cooking, dishes, cleaning, common areas all need to be done by each family member on different days. My son hates chores and always tries his hardest to get out of doing them. It's been a constant battle. Dishes are the worst. He overpacks the dishwasher so the dish detergent can't even get on the dishes. It just catches on whenever the pan he shoved in front of it. And he also doesn't rinse all the dishes at all. So they come out dirty and caked in food. If we want to eat the day after he does dishes, we end up having to do dishes to hand wash them, and he doesn't even seem to care. Any attempt to talk to him on this is met with a smirk, and he would say something along the lines of, but the dishwasher sanitizes it. He knows exactly what he is doing. Well, the day after his night of doing the dishes, I went to cook dinner. All of the dishes were still filthy. I had worked all day long. I was exhausted, and I honestly teared up seeing this nonsense. I did not have the energy to make dinner, let alone do an entire load of dishes first. I quietly called my husband in, and he offered to wash the dishes by hand that I needed. Light bulb moment. I told him, yes, please, but only enough dishes for preparing the food and serving everyone but the 17-year-old. I made dinner and called the kiddos to eat. 17-year-old sat down and his setting was empty. He asked where his plate and silverware and cups were. I pointed to the dishwasher and said, tonight you'll be eating off the dishes that you did. Go pick them out. He went pale and started protesting that it was gross. I quickly cut him off and reminded him that the dishwasher sanitized them. Hubby backed me up. If he wants to eat tonight, then he will eat off his dishes. He huffed and puffed and said that he'll wash some, and I said, nope, you had your chance to get them clean last night. Eat off them as they are, or don't eat at all. He yelled and said that he'd make his own food, which I said no. Eventually, he relented and found the least disgusting dishes and ate his dinner quietly. I felt bad. He looked so sick and grossed out. But I was sick of him wasting time and water and detergent. And it worked. His dishes came out spotless the next time. Not a speck. But like I said, he's still furious, and I do feel bad now that it's over and done with. I'm just sick of his weaponized incompetence. He doesn't realize that his laziness messes over everyone else in the house. Am I the jerk? Alright, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
I think Opie took it a little far.
Yeah, my opinion on this one is that OP took this just a smidge far. I think that they could have just stopped right beforehand, had him pick out his dishes, have them set them down on the table, and then be like, all right, we're not going to make you eat off of them, but next time you do this, you will be eating off your dishes. And I think that could have accomplished the same thing and made sure that he knew that this was actually a threat and that, not just a threat, and that he was going to be subject to his own dirty dishes if he did this in the future. So I do think that OP went a little far here, but I do understand their frustration, and I understand them being upset that the dishes weren't clean. Now, the one thing that I can say is, like, in all likelihood, like, some dishes, like, when they come out not quite as clean in the dishwasher, they are sanitized and they might have, like, little tiny bits of food around them. So hopefully he found a plate that wasn't, like, actually, like, had real crumbs on it, because that's kind of gross. That's very gross. So I just think that in this particular case, OP just went a smidge far. But let me know what you folks think. Not the jerk. You probably should have done this a long time ago. If he doesn't experience consequences, he's not going to grow up and be less selfish. And he's at an age where this is not going to be typical or understandable behavior very, very soon. Agreed. The fact that OP and her husband have gotten in the habit of cleaning the dishes after their son failed to clean them properly means that he was never learning his lesson. What he actually learned is that even when I do something wrong, my parents will have to fix my mistake because they have to eat as well. What OP did was brilliant, because he's 17 and it's time for him to learn how to do these kinds of things correctly. The fact that he somehow figured out how to do the dishes correctly overnight shows that he knew how to do them. He was being purposely obtuse about it. Good job, OP. Our last letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Refusing to Delete Nude Photos from a Photo Shoot? I'm a 30-year-old male, and I'm a photographer, and I periodically do art nude photo shoots. A few years ago, I shot a woman in her 20s that I met on a photography website who expressed interest in getting some nude photos taken. I did the photo shoot for free in exchange for using some anonymous photos in my portfolio. Fast forward, I recently got message from this woman asking me to take down the photos and delete my local copies too. I think it's because she started working in a relatively conservative field and worries about how other people might think about this. I was happy to take down the photos online, but I refuse to delete the offline copies in my hard drive. Nobody is going to see them other than me. And I put hard work into the photos, so I don't want to lose them. She even offered to pay me in exchange for deleting them, but I said no. I think that she's getting quite stressed over the photos, but we had an agreement and I don't want to lose my artwork. My offline copies are not going to harm her in any way. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Jerk.
What's it going to look like to future clients if you do take nude photos and don't respect people's, like, right to these kinds of things? I think that it's going to be a really hard way for you to, keep and gain clients, right? And keep and gain people's trust. Also, I can understand this view of this young woman because these are the kinds of things that do ruin jobs. Doing something like this doesn't necessarily seem like a big deal, but then it can cause huge issues later. So I do think that you need to have some patience and kindness and understanding here, because she is clearly concerned about this. So that's kind of what I think. Let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Magic Noodle Man says, As a fellow photographer, I completely understand not wanting to delete hard work. Not wanting to forget the memories of editing, handling, and arguing with yourself about everything under the sun to make a photo look perfect. However, as stated, you are the only one to see them now. If this was a scenic or nice outdoor engagement shoot, I can get behind saying, no, they aren't like any danger to anyone else, etc. However, nude photos are a very specific type of photo shooting. They are meant to be handled with care and sensitivity of the client. You may be attached to your work that you put in, but you are sacrificing your dignity and the client's comfortability. At the end of the day, that photo is not worth your credibility, dignity, and so on. Also, you can probably get into a legal battle. I'm not sure the contract wording that you used, and so on, what she can go on after. And all be all, delete it and remember that the client comes before your wants and needs, and that the photos are a symbol of your hard work, but it's also a piece of their life. That is how I handle my photographs, at least. You can choose what you want to do, but I guarantee that you're the jerk in the eyes of the general public. This can absolutely ruin your business if a client decides to go public with things and saying how creepy it is that you're keeping photos for yourself. While someone such as myself understands it's due to the work and pride that you put into said photos, others are absolutely going to label you in a bad way, and most likely you will have very few clients that feel comfortable with you, if any. Alright, folks, it is tea time. Make sure to grab your waters of choice and maybe other beverages. Like, again, like I'm actually drinking water. Amber's drinking water too. It's still a little toasty here. Not as bad as it has been, though. Who can shave 4 times a day and still have a beard? A barber. Or cut their hair, or any number of things. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like, and if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.